Hi, my name is Danielle Glosson and I'm in the Masters of Entrepreneurship program at Western Carolina University. Today I will talk about the purpose and what is included in Employee Handbook. What is the purpose? Why an employee handbook? Well, an employee handbook provides clear communication. It protects the business from lawsuits and claims. It helps enforce policies. It allows an employer to etch out certain rights not otherwise permitted and serves as reference for both employee and employer. What to include? An organizational culture, the mission statement and values, expectations and corresponding consequences, company policies, policies by law, and a disclaimer for dismissal and understanding that the handbook is not a contract. Okay, so the organizational culture is a system of shared assumptions, values, and beliefs which governs how people behave in organizations. So, for example, here, Twitter, employees love working with other smart people, and they rave about being part of a company that's doing something that matters in the world. The employees sense that no one leaves until the work gets done. Okay, another example is at Chevron. They show they care about their employees by providing health and fitness centers on site, and they offer health-oriented programs such as massages and personal training. The Chevron insists employees take regular breaks and promotes caring about the well-being of their employees. And then lastly, we have Adobe. They provide or they avoid micromanaging the people and promote creativity of products. Adobe doesn't use ratings to establish employee capabilities because they feel it inhibits the creativity and harms how the teams work. So managers take on more of a coach role and they let their employees set goals as well as determine how they should be assessed. Continual training and culture that promotes risk taking without fear of penalty are part of Adobe's open company culture. So, a mission statement, what is it? This brief statement, it declares the purpose of an organization and defines the reason for the company's existence. Examples, I have Nike, to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. And then Starbucks, to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. All right, so values. Core values are what support the vision, shape the culture, and reflect what the company values. They are the essence of the company's identity, the principles, beliefs, or philosophy of values. A couple examples include accountability, innovation, integrity, and safety. These values are oftentimes implemented into the mission statement. So, expectations and consequences. Expectations differ between each business, and so I'm going to just talk about some of the consequences, just a method that most businesses kind of take on. So, severe. So, employees who commit severe violations of the code of conduct may find their employment terminated, even if it's their first offense. So, theft or violence may be an immediate termination, as well as involvement of police or criminal charges. It just depends on the severity. So, some companies may also have a policy about employees who commit a violation outside of the workplace. Therefore, as an employee, it's important to read all the expectations in the employee handbook. For minor violations, the first step is usually a verbal warning. The manager will take the employee aside, discuss the incident and consequences if it's repeated. If the employee repeats the action, the next step to an issue is a written warning. And so that may put the employee on a probationary period and warn them that termination may result from repeated occurrences. If the employee continually violates the handbook after receiving a verbal and written warning, a manager usually has the authority to fire the individual, so the potential termination. Okay, so company policies. A policy is a statement of intent and is implemented as a procedure or protocol. So, some examples in the workplace include alcohol and drug policies, maybe a no smoking policy. It differs again by businesses, but those are pretty common. All right, so policies by law. First, we have the family medical leave policies. So, the federal government's Family Medical Leave Act requires that employees of certain size must provide employees with up to 12 weeks of unpaid leave during any 12-month period for the birth or care of a child, to care for immediate family member with a serious health condition, or if the employee has a serious health condition. Many states have their own policies regarding unpaid family leave as well. All right, so the equal employment and non-discrimination policies. The U.S. Department of Labor requires many businesses to post information stating that the business follows non-discrimination and equal employment opportunity laws in hiring and promotion. And then lastly, the workers' compensation policies. Many states require that employees be informed of workers' compensation policies in writing. Among other laws that might require inclusion in the employee handbooks are policies regarding accommodation of disabilities, policies on military leave, policies on breastfeeding accommodation, and crime victim leave policies. All right. There are a few general disclaimers that every employee handbook should have. This is not a contract. It is important to point out that the handbook is just that, a handbook, and it does not make any promises about continued employment. So it's expressed as a contract, but it's not a guarantee. The handbook, it trumps previous policy documents. It should make it clear that it's the ultimate word on company policies, and then that the policies in the handbook may be subject to change. It's important to leave a little wiggle room because times change, new issues come up, and you may need to make revisions. So the employee acknowledgement page, it's usually towards the end of the employee handbook. It's important to include this page that the employee signs and returns. The acknowledgement should state that the employee understands that their responsibility to read and follow the policies. So once you develop your employee handbook, you want to have a training program for those new employees. So step 1 is to develop the training program that identifies all required topics of workplace. Topics generally fall into the following broad categories: employee handbook, position requirements, safety training, quality assurance, regulatory compliance, employee development and certifications, preventive maintenance and housekeeping, and standard operation procedures. Okay, step 2 is to create a checklist that summarizes all training topics. You can get like a new employee checklist, and in some cases, employees will require only an introduction to a topic, whereas other employees will need to receive an in-depth safety training as part of their job assignment. Step 3, identify the training resources. Individual safety programs typically involve reading safety material, watching videos and computer presentations, reviewing material with managers, and completing tests. Training material is available in a variety of formats such as DVD, computer software, and training booklets. It's important to select the material that can be used for new employee training as well as in regular safety meetings. Provide the employees with a variety of training materials and formats to accommodate the different learning styles and languages. Training must be documented and competencies demonstrated throughout those tests. All right, so step 4, the managers and supervisors develop a procedure for evaluating the employee's performance. So, evaluate new employees after they've worked for 30 days in a process area to determine what deficiencies exist in their training, and then you can develop an action plan to correct those deficiencies. All right, everyone, I hope that you learned a little bit about the employee handbook. It's very important for any business, and then the training program that goes along with that.